When the narcissist can't look away, let's sit down a moment. Just you and me, and talk plain. Not like scholars spinning theories in ivory towers, but like people who've lived, who've bled, who've seen behind the curtain. Because when it comes to the narcissist, we're not talking about love the way folks sing about it in songs. No. We're talking about a hunger, a haunting, a thirst that keeps coming back dry no matter how deep the well. The narcissist doesn't fall in love, not really. What the narcissist craves is a reflection, clean and gleaming, not of who they are, but of who they wish they were. Every interaction, every relationship is a desperate reach for that mirror, and then one day someone shows up. Someone who sees not the wounds tucked behind the arrogance, but the story the narcissist is trying to tell. The legend, the myth of the lie polished so well, it shines like truth. And when that person reflects it back, when they mirror the glory the narcissist is trying so hard to fake, that's when it happens. Not love. Attachment. Obsession. A spiritual dependence. Suddenly, the narcissist isn't walking away. They're leaning in. Not because their soul's been healed, but because their mask has found an audience that believes. That person becomes like breath in lungs that have never known real air. So why does the narcissist fall? Let me break it down. 1. They see their own glory in you. It isn't compliments they're after. It's confirmation. Confirmation that the fantasy they carry like armor is real. And when someone, without trying, without pandering, just sees them through the lens they want to be seen through, it hits like revelation. The narcissist doesn't just feel admired. They feel alive. And they start orbiting that person like the sun itself lives inside them. Because it does, for their ego. That light, that grace, and that reflection, it becomes their fuel too. The illusion of rain without resistance. Now, here's the twist that most folks miss. Sometimes, the most powerful kind of control is the one freely given. The narcissist believes they're in charge. They think they're steering the ship, but when someone wise hands them the wheel, smiling gently all the while, something settles. The narcissist breathes easier, feels safe, feels in command. But it's not real control. It's curated. It's the illusion of power. And beneath that illusion, that's where the hook lies. Not because the narcissist has surrendered, but because they feel they don't have to fight. 3. Strength that doesn't shout. Here's where the ground shifts. The narcissist can't help but test people. It's in their bones. Push, poke, provoke. But when someone stands firm, not with rage, not with defiance, but with stillness, something strange happens, that immovable spirit. It unnerves them. And then it intrigues them. You say no, and it echoes louder than any yes they've ever heard. You don't break. You don't bend. And the narcissist, used to knocking walls down with whispers, suddenly finds themselves staring at a mountain. They won't admit it. Oh no, but inside, something stirs. Respect, longing, a craving to be near that strength, not to conquer it, but to feel safe beside it. The narcissist won't call it submission, but their soul will know the truth. The one they can't forget. There are people who walk into a room like thunder, and then there are those who walk in like rain. Quiet, soft, but utterly impossible to ignore. The narcissist meets one of these rare souls, and everything stops. Not because of glamour, not because of a show, but because of peace. Deep, unwavering peace. You didn't try to impress, you didn't play the part, and that's the miracle. You just were. Steady, honest, unafraid. And in that presence, the narcissist found something they've never known. Someone who sees beyond the mask and doesn't run. Someone who offers presence instead of praise. Who holds their gaze without needing to be held. You didn't worship. You didn't chase. But you saw. Not the show. Not the spin. But the soul beneath it all. And in that sacred seeing, the narcissist found something they never dared to ask for: worth without performance. They won't say thank you. They might never show it. But deep down, you've become a compass in their chaos, a mirror that doesn't flatter but reflects something true, something terrifying, something rare. Because here's what most don't understand: the narcissist arrogance is just armor. All that shining, all that shouting, it's a cover for a wound they don't want anyone to see. But when someone walks in, not to fix, not to flatter, but to be, that armor starts to rust, not because of pressure, but because of presence. And that, my friend, is how change begins. Not with force, not with fury, but with quiet truth that refuses to lie. When strength isn't loud but unshackable, now let me tell you something that might surprise you. It's not your softness that stops the narcissist in their tracks. It's not your kindness that throws them off. It's your strength, but not the kind that screams, not the kind that fights fire with fire. No, it's that quiet, immovable kind, the kind that looks pain in the eye and doesn't blink, the kind that stands there still when the wind howls and the lightning hits and just says, "I know who I am." Bah. The narcissist expects people to crumble. That's how they write their script. Push a little, pull a little, and folks usually dance to the tune. But then you walk in. You don't chase. You don't cower. You don't get sucked into the chaos. You stand, not to win, not to punish, but because you're anchored. And that, my friend, breaks the spell. You see, the narcissist builds a world that spins around their pain, always pulling others into orbit. But you don't orbit. You stay grounded. You stay still. And in a world full of people who bend just to keep the peace, your refusal to shrink becomes unforgettable. They can't dominate it, and they can't break it. And strangely enough, they don't walk away from it. They come closer. Because somewhere inside, in a place they don't even admit exists, they respect it. That's not love. That's not trust. That's something deeper. That's reverence. Reluctant, silent, raw reverence. What they can't replace, here's where it gets real strange. The narcissist, with all their games and glory, but all their chasing and charming, they're not haunted by the people they control. They're haunted by the ones they can't. They don't lose sleep over the ones who begged, but the ones who didn't break. The ones who smiled and walked away when the storm got loud. Those are the ones that stay in their mind like a ghost that won't leave. Because deep down, the narcissist knows something they'd never dare say out loud. Control is sand in their hands. It slips. It fades. And when someone steps into their world who won't be pushed, that person becomes rare, precious, irreplaceable. Not because of the drama, not because of attention, but because they didn't fall into the trap. You didn't flatter. You didn't worship. You just stood. You became more than a person to the narcissist. You became a mystery, a sacred mirror. A reflection that didn't distort or bow or bend. You saw through the illusion, and yet you didn't run. That's what throws them. That's what keeps them tethered. And sure, they might call it love. They might call it surrender. But make no mistake, most of the time, it's not love as we know it. It's strategy. It's survival. It's a longing that looks holy but carries no peace. Still, even so, it's a shift. And that shift, it speaks volumes. Not about who they've become, but about who you are. The gift you carry, let's be honest here. Narcissists don't love the way others do. They feel things, yes, but their feelings don't flow from trust or truth. They come from need. A desperate, bottomless need to be seen, to be admired, to be filled. Not because they're wicked, but because they're empty. And in that emptiness, they've learned to drink from others, like a well that never gets full. But then someone walks in, and you don't just reflect the image they're selling to the world. You go deeper. You look through it, and somehow you stay. You don't sell yourself to their story. You don't play their game, but you see them, and you stay steady. That's a holy kind of danger to the narcissist, because you give what they can't fake. You give truth, wrapped in grace, grounded in peace. You offer warmth, but not weakness. You speak life, but not illusion. And the narcissist, drawn by a hunger they can't name, begins to lean in. Not because they understand love, but because they feel something they can't live without. And that terrifies them. But know this: being needed ain't the same as being loved. The narcissist's attention can feel like a fire. It burns hot. It burns bright. It makes you feel like you're the center of the universe. But you've got to stop and ask, is this fire warming me or is it burning me down? Because being the center of their storm isn't the same as being loved. It's being used, admired, maybe. Consumed, certainly. But not cherished, not held, not known. And if you're the kind of soul who feels deeply, who sees beyond masks, who loves with mercy and vision, you might find yourself pulled into that fire without realizing it. Because the intensity feels like purpose. It feels like destiny. But it's not. It's need. And it's a need that will take until you forget who you were before it all began. So what do? You stand, you wake up. You look that storm in the face and say, I know who I am. You stop asking, do they love me? And start asking, am I still loving myself? Because if the answer is no, if your peace is always paid for in silence, in shrinking, in walking on glass, then what you're in isn't love, it's a performance. And the stage was never yours to begin with. This is where freedom begins. Understanding the narcissist doesn't mean you excuse them. It means you outgrow them. You walk in wisdom. You speak with clarity. You love without losing yourself. And when the time comes, and it will, you choose. You choose whether to stay, whether to step back, whether to walk out altogether. But you do it awake. You do it free. Not from guilt. Not from fear, but from knowing that your worth was never tied to being wanted by someone who didn't know what to do with it. You don't heal by fixing the narcissist. When you heal by refusing to become one, you heal by standing so firm in your own sacred value that not even the deepest manipulation can pull you off center. That, my friend, is the end of their illusion and the beginning of your resurrection.